So hello everyone, my name is Masab Zuma aka Blackbear 2OP and today we have someone very special. We know that Call of Duty Mobile India is doing really great in India because in the past we have seen lots of teams from India representing on global stage, getting the medals and making the whole community proud. And we have right now Zems, coach of Vitality with us. Hey Zems, I welcome you and how are you feeling? What's up, brother?
I'm good, man. It's a pleasure. We just came back from China, from the CDSI, preparing now for the last week, and then we'll be off to Atlanta for the World Championship.
So how are you feeling like you're gonna represent India? Team Vitality Godlike is gonna be there for the World Championship 2024. So how are you feeling about that? What are your strategies
Strategies for what exactly?
for the tournament, for the finale, for the LAN?
Vitality's at the World Championship every single year. Luckily, India has two slots.
Yeah.
Deservedly so. Godlike has perennially represented the region pretty well, and Godlike and Vitality as well.
Okay.
We feel really good with the position that we're in right now, coming off our regional, a lot of experience in the CDSI event, and just our scrim regiment has been very strong. We're confident. We feel like our roles have been locked in. Everything's good. Polishing out some of the kinks and
Can you share a bit more about the journey in esports and how you became the coach for Team Vitality Call of Duty team?
yeah. So I played COD as a younger person growing up. I traveled to a lot of the open bracket events when I was in middle school and high school. I was very young. Uh, Eventually, at a certain point, my Xbox, I don't remember, it was my Xbox Live membership ran out or something, and my mom wouldn't pay for it. And my friends in school, they played another mobile game called Vainglory.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
Vainglory was a MOBA, kind of like League of Legends, Wild Rift style. Uh, they were very good at it. I was not very good at it, but I'm a very competitive person coming from traveling to tournaments, and so I played it. Wasn't good at it. They wouldn't play with me, and it kind of motivated me to get better. I decided I would grind the rank leaderboards. I got good, went pro in that game, and then shifted from a career and playing pro in that game
To
all the way
coaching.
to coaching. Yeah, had a nice stint coaching at that point too in Vainglory, and then right around the end cycle of that game, the game stopped development. The studio closed down or something like
Mhm.
that, and
Vainglory
Call of
got
Duty,
shut down.
yeah, and Call of Duty Mobile got announced, and I had already been coaching in Vainglory, and I had a competitive history in COD, and it just made a lot of sense. So I came over to Call of Duty Mobile at a time where coaches were very obscure and very weird. It was very strange to have a coach in the game in
That
the
time.
very early stages of it.
Yeah.
But I got together with some friends. We played some tournaments. I found that quickly as a player, it was very difficult because I have a how do you say a carpal tunnel. So
Okay.
it's difficult for me to hold the device for long periods of time. It hurts my hands. So I
It was
coached
a
with my
better
friends.
choice
Yeah,
to transition from the esports player to the coach, right?
yeah,
Would be
and
much helpful to you.
yeah. So I coached my friends. We placed well in some tournaments, and then as the natural cycle of esports, you want to get better, and you little by little you climb the ladder, climb the ladder, climb the ladder, and I ended up on some pretty good teams, and I found myself in a pro
So
position
we know
early.
that you had a very successful career in NA and in European region. So like, what was the coaching style? Do you like to go aggressive, or do you like to go like you like to read the opponent first and then make your strategies? How do you operate when it comes to strategies, especially?
Uh, my coaching career in COD Mobile has been not limited to North America and Europe. Those are two of the regions I've spent most of my time in, but
Okay.
I've also spent time in Southeast Asia. I've spent
Uh-huh.
time working with Chinese teams. Uh, the only region I haven't worked with right now is Latin America. So I feel at this point in my coaching career very cultured in the region, or on the regional levels, very aware of how everybody likes to play, and I can bring all of that together and work to vary that within our team's strategies. Uh, we definitely have a really nice blend of everybody. So when we go to the World Championship, you're not seeing a North American team in India. You're not seeing an Indian team. You're seeing a very worldly team that can play against anybody and have effective strategy.
So there's like one rivalry in India. Let's start with India right now.
Sure.
We have two teams right now competing for the same title. That is the World Championship. We have Team Vitality, the team you've been coaching, and then we have Godlike. So I know I've been following Godlike Codm team for the last 3 years. They were indestructible in India,
Yeah.
and for the first time, I have like it's been so long. I've been following the Codm community, and it was like one-sided game for Godlike. So for the first time, I heard that Vitality beat them in the Indian qualifiers, and now both the teams are gonna play in the for the World Cup. So how do you feel about this rivalry between Vitality and Godlike now?
Um, I think rivalries in general are determined by fan bases, and I think that uh, obviously they're determined by people who have been in those, matchups for their entire careers.
Right.
The teams that I consider my personal rivals, coaches I consider my personal rivals, are not in India. Um, I don't feel like Godlike is a rival, but it's only because I haven't been here my whole career. That might be very different if you were to ask Sams and JOKOs, who've been losing to them their whole career. Um, with that being said, I know that Godlike has been like perennially the champion of Europe, not Europe, India, and they still are a very strong team. But yeah, bringing my experience and not feeling like they're the final boss,
Obviously,
and bringing
obviously.
bringing other guys who were able to kind of come here and not have the how do you say it? Not the experience, but the tenure of losing to them really kind of shifted the mentality into they're just a really good team. You play really good teams all year long in scrims and in the World Championship, and you treat them like you would any other team, and
So
won.
you, so you have I totally get you. You exactly know what you're doing. You know exactly, even if you're winning the regionals, you're not gonna be the world championship, which you are exactly looking for. So you have a mixture of like international players as well as the
Yeah.
Indian players. You have Tectonic, two-time world champion. So how do you
Yeah.
handle him?
Tectonic is he's not just a player for our team. He's a very close friend of mine.
Oh,
I've known him for a very long time. We've been on 2 or 3 North American teams together. Now finding ourselves again on Vitality. So we've worked together before for a very long time. We have a very close brotherhood, camaraderie between the two of us. We butt heads, but all in the closeness of the relationship. He's incredible. Not only as a talented player, but as a guy who's able to shoulder a lot of weight and shoulder a lot of leadership. And something that's interesting about Tech is that he's not naturally a guy that wants that bestowed upon him.
okay.
But he, when you're great and you're Hall of Fame, when you're considered one of the greatest, if not the greatest, there's an aura around you that
The
people look
pressure,
to.
the vibe. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's pressure, it's vibe, it's aura that people look to you to lead and to be at a certain level with character. And this year, him taking that responsibility on and actually embracing it and saying, you know what, I'm going to try to be a leader on this team and try to put that foot forward. It's been incredible, not only for him in his development as a player, but for young guys
For the
like
team.
Stams and JOKOs who are, they haven't had great success on the international level. And even for our young kid Viper, who's coming up next season, having a mentor not only in myself but in him as well, and in all of his other teammates, it helps. And it doesn't stop there. We've got leadership at every level. We've got one of the best SMGs in the world in Solo, who he's a very outspoken, very communicative guy. We've got Marvel. He's the most decorated European of all time right now in Call of Duty Mobile. He's experienced. He's also a leader on this team. We've got guys at every position that can carry weight when other people are not, able to kind of shoulder it all, and just spreading that responsibility among multiple people on the team, in addition to having a great coaching staff from myself and Callie and his brother and our analysts. We have a lot of ways to divide pressure and responsibilities.
So you've been like one thing now I know that you've already prepared, and now so I will ask you some fun questions. Okay, so you've been in India, and how do you like the weather so far? First, what's your routine? Yeah.
The weather, where I'm from Miami. Tech is from Louisiana, so it's quite humid where we're from in the southern part of the United States. So it's not too different actually. but it's definitely very hot here, and the air conditioning
You're in
is
Mumbai,
more of a
right?
difference. Yeah, we're in
So
Mumbai.
do you go to the beaches? How do you like the beaches then?
No,
No?
I mean, we will sometimes we'll go into the city and we'll go to the bars and we'll explore the city, the mall and things like this. But as far as like vacationing and stuff like that, we don't do it in Mumbai. We recently came back from a little settle down trip right before we went to China. We had a small vacation in Goa. We did go to Goa.
How did you like that? The
Goa
place?
was great.
Yeah,
Goa
it's
was
a party
awesome. We had
place.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
so
we were there.
so yesterday when I was told to take the interview, so I had I asked few of my friends who play Call of Duty a lot, and they are like a big enthusiast, and I've got few questions. So one of my friend asked that Tectonic's history with Luminosity Gaming and their memorable defeat against them. Like against Godlike was one of the most iconic stories in the history of esports, especially for Indian fans. So how does he feel representing India now, and how has this flipped the stakes for him?
Um, I think him coming to India maybe partially had to do with that loss, but more so the opportunity just to do esports in general. Where we're from on our side of the world in the West, our game is not particularly supported very well. There's not a lot of opportunities, and with the cost of living regionally being very very high, the time that you're spending playing the game is time that you could be spending working and making money and contributing it to your household. Whereas in India, and being paid in the Western currency, you come here and the cost of living is much lower compared
Yep.
to what we. So you can make yourself a living here, and you can do it full time. In the States or in Europe, you're an esports athlete as a hobby, and maybe you're a bartender, or maybe you're a construction worker, or maybe you're doing something else. So he came like Marvel and Solo for the opportunity to be a professional player and be only that all year long. Obviously, when you're going the previous year two and you lose in the manner that you lost, with the roster that you had and the expectation that was supposed to come along with that, a lot of people said that was the greatest North American roster ever, and maybe on paper it was, but the team was lazy. They didn't work hard. They were really fucking lazy. So he and if you know anything about Tech, he doesn't want to be around lazy bums. He doesn't want to be around kids that are just not going to try or waste your time or whatever. He got out, and he was willing to step down and say, you know what, all of the guys that came here, Marvel and Solo and Tech, were willing to potentially step down from the power level of team to come and put something together and build it authentically from the ground.
A new team, I'll say they want to rise like Phoenix only.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
in your opinion, who is the most formidable player in the current competitive scene, and like why? Whom do you consider the best right now?
The best individual player right now, if you didn't take into consideration like team, you can go in any direction. 3 or 4 of them are probably in China. You
Okay.
can go Lucasen. Lucasen is, I mean, he goes to every single tournament, and he's the #1 player
The MVP.
by a wide margin statistically in every tournament he plays in. So individually, maybe Lucasen. If you put a little bit of a team around these guys, like you can go Anzai from the Wolves in China. You can go Nono or Ma from X-Rock on China. You can go Oling, the most decorated Chinese player on Q9. You could go Tectonic. He's got that record of dominance, and he's got
Yes.
international titles.
Indeed.
I mean, there's a bunch of different guys, but if you were just looking for stats individually, Lucasen is a clear favorite.
And what's the reason? What makes him different from the other players? Like, what's the other players like? What's the thing they are lacking? What extra he's doing?
I don't know.
If
you
you'll
find
know,
out, tell me. If
if
you find
you'll,
out, tell me.
yeah.
But Lucasen, like all of the top players, they share this trait where they're relentlessly training, and all the time they're very very critical of themselves. They're perfectionists. He finds himself in a very unique spot because he's thought to be the best in the world individually in a Western region, which in recent years has kind of dissipated a little bit. Now you can find a lot more of them over here in the East. So It is interesting, but Lucasen I know is a relentless grinder.
So, which team do you consider the most like I'll say the difficult to win against once? Let's say that.
I would say the most difficult team to prepare against is probably Elevate.
Okay.
The Elevate is a Filipino team from Garina. They're the number one seed coming out of Garina. They're the number one Filipino team right now. They're so difficult to prepare against because nobody in the world plays like them in the respawn modes. If you want to prepare for Elevate, you have to play Elevate. You have to scrim them. You can't get live reps or live actual in-game flow practice against anybody else because of just how different their style is from the coaching level, from the individual player level. They've got a team philosophy that's like only win the game, only objective. It doesn't matter, and it's so lightning fast that if you're not playing them, you're not going to feel how it feels to play against them, against anybody else in the world. Many teams, including ourselves, in places try to emulate and try to add this adjustment to our style, but it's all imitation, and it's all like that is their organic style. So Elevate, I would say, is probably the most difficult team to prepare against because of the need to.
They're born
play
like they're
them.
born. They are
Yeah.
like they know the mechanism. They know everything. They know their IQ level is too good, right? So, one question I'll ask you, and then we are almost about to end this interview. So, you're in India. What do you think about the Indian audience, the support which you guys get, or like the difference between the audience or the esports enthusiast from the outside India and India? What's the difference?
Let me think about that for a second. I would say for our team specifically, we have a lot of international fans. Vitality is one of the most prestigious organizations in the world, and they hail from France.
Yeah.
So we have a pretty good fan base in the European regions. Myself, Solo, and Tech coming from North America, we've got a lot of supporters over there. In India, it's a little bit different because of the range that it varies. Like you said, Godlike they've been winning for a while, and it's not just in COD Mobile, but it's in
BGMI. There are lots of
and these other
rosters. Yeah,
games.
they have
Yeah,
multiple rosters.
yeah, so they've got a lot of the local fan base right now, and I know that there are a couple other organizations in India like Seoul and like
Yeah.
Revenant and these
Team
organizations that
Xbox.
yeah. So Vitality is we're it starts with winning, right? Winning and you generate interest there. So we were able to do that this year.
You win, you dominate. I'll tell you, you win, you dominate, and you'll get everything.
Yeah. As far as Indian fans for the Call of Duty Mobile itself, just Call of Duty Mobile fans, the Indian fans have been really great, really graceful. Even fans from Godlike have been very graceful who are just Call of Duty Mobile fans. They've been very kind, very supportive, fair play, all of these things. But with our team, we've also dealt with some challenges, being international players and being people from across the world where we haven't been accepted, and a lot of people don't want us to be here, and we get it's like for every couple good comments, we get a boatload of just you don't belong here type comments too. So we fight against that a little bit as well, and you try to zone it all out. But there's been positive, but there's also been negative. So with this kind of thing being so new, and there never being an international roster in our game before, and this being the first time it's ever happened, and it happening in India where the people are so they're so uniform. Like your people are Indian.
Yep.
Whereas if you go to the United States, we have such a mesh pot of people from all kinds of. We have white, black, we have Asian, we've got everything
Different
over there.
ethnicity, yeah.
So you can put together a team and mix up the ethnicities.
You get people
and
from
you
all
know-
over the world. That's like I'll add one more question to it now. So you have seen the global scene, and then you are seeing the Indian scene. You have Indian players in your team, you have international player in your teams. In Call of Duty Mobile, when we talk about India, we have just two lineups right now, and they are representing India. There are
Yeah.
other lineups, there are other underdogs, but why do you think the scene of Call of Duty Mobile is too it's below average? I'll say that the players, they're not able to compete in the global stages. No doubt, Godlike went to the international stage. They won. They were the runner-up, but still, the Call of Duty scene in India is, I'll say, too low at their lowest. What do you think about that? What's need to be changed? The organizations, or maybe the investors, or maybe the developers. Like, what do you think? the problem is?
I mean, I really I wouldn't know where to start because cost of living here is really cheap. You can field a team here.
So you
don't
should
have
like
to pay them
Face
too much.
should also invest. 100 Thieves should also get a lineup in India. They should be here, right? But they're not here.
We see a history of organizations coming to India and trying to establish, you know, a market and a presence here. As far as Indian esports, there was a time when there were a lot more tournaments in India, so definitely not seeing a lot of opportunities to compete domestically maybe is part of it. But I think a lot of the reason why just esports in general and in a place like India where it has a very large player base doesn't develop and doesn't flourish comes from the game itself and comes from the developer. There's not a path to pro right now, and there's not a way for you to, as a average person, like really reach your hand out and be able to touch the professional teams because you don't get the resources to practice against them. You don't get the opportunity. Even in the ranked modes, the ranked modes in Call of Duty Mobile aren't even professional rule set. It's just public matches with different time
It's normal lobbies, yeah.
Yeah,
it's like you're just pushing your rank, but you're not going anywhere.
Yeah, you're not doing anything with it. So maybe the game could add some kind of esports setting that could actually establish you know what that feels like, and maybe there could be some incentive there. Obviously you start there, you start with the game, you start with players playing naturally, and then you introduce esports, and then you give them opportunities to play in tournaments, and you mix, and you give the professional teams opportunities to play against the upcoming guys, and you learn from each other.
So Zems, I'll say one thing, because you guys are going to play the World Championship of Call of Duty Mobile, and this year we wish you luck that you get the trophy, because I know you are prepared. You have your team, you know exactly what to do, you have your strategies ready, you have your you have your mindset, you know your goals. So the final words to the Indian audience, to all the Call of Duty players and the community who gonna support you for the World Championship, what's gonna be your final word to them?
I'd like to tell all of the Indian fans and the people on your platform and everybody that's watching and supporting our team and criticizing our team, even though we're from different places in the world, we came here to play for you guys. When we go to the stage, when we go to the World Championship, we're not going to carry a United States flag.
Yeah.
We're not going to carry a French flag. We're going to carry the biggest fucking Indian flag you've ever seen in your life. It's going to be right there front and center, and we're going to be repping the Vitality India. We're going to be repping, you know, our supporting even Godlike over there when they play their matches. We're going to be raising that flag, and we're doing it for India. So I hope that you guys can support us. I hope that you guys can be a part of that process. Criticize us, support us, but be there and make sure that you're a part of it. And if we can earn some new fans along the way, great.
Definitely.
If we earn some haters along the way, great. At least you watched. So keep your eyes on it for sure.
Best of luck, Zems. I wish you all the luck, and definitely I'm gonna be watching. Lots of other people gonna be watching, and we will definitely vouch for you guys. Not just Godlike, but it's gonna be Vitality, and I really want to see some changes. Let's hope you guys win. You set some standards so that the other people can also follow that, so that the other organizations can follow your footstep. Best of luck, brother. Let's hope we meet soon and we do this interview in a real-time podcast.
All right, let's do it.
Best of luck. Bye bye, Zems.